Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for joining. We are so glad to have you here. I'll be handing over to my colleague now. She will take over from here. She will be taking the next thing on our agenda. Madam Ese, over to you. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. Good afternoon. Thank you for joining in this afternoon. It's good to have us on this call this afternoon. And I know some of us we've met physically, while some we are also yet to meet, and we are hoping to meet physically as well. So quickly, I will just share my screen. Okay, so while we wait for that, so quickly I want to introduce the Policy Innovation Center to us. So the Policy Innovation Center is the first national institutionalized behavioral initiative in Africa, supporting government and stakeholders to make behaviorally informed decisions. And we do that by generating evidence, for impact-driven interventions in critical thematic areas. So just to know that the Policy Innovation Center is an initiative of the Nigeria Economic Summit Group. So if you've heard of NESG, Nigeria Economic Summit Group, so the PIC, Policy Innovation Center, is an initiative of NESG and is a leading think tank in Africa, redefining evidence-based policy advocacy. So the PIC was launched in October 2021 to deepen the impact of social interventions in Nigeria. And that's because we have a complexity of issues, which are increasingly interrelated and dynamic as well. So we thought that policies and interventions, must be human-centered. They must be realistic and must connect the often multifaceted nature of the needs and challenges people face, in their everyday lives. So the PIC is positioned to support the delivery of better policies and innovative solutions for high impact interventions, not just in Nigeria, but across Africa as well. So at PIC, our vision is delivering better policies and innovative solutions for social impact, while our mission is to, we improve policies and programs using gender transformative and behavioral approaches to drive positive social change. And what are our core values as an organization? So it's innovation, collaboration, accountability, inclusion, and social impact as well. And what we do basically, we conduct social and behavioral science research. We support the design of evidence-based policies, and we apply behavioral insights in all that we do. And of course, we are big on gender and social inclusion as well. So I welcome you all this afternoon again to this webinar hosted by the Policy Innovation Center. And I trust we are going to have a good time this afternoon. Let me see if I can share my screen now. Yeah, so I know most of us will be wondering what is strengthening women's leadership in academic economic situations. What is it all about? Swole for short. So quickly, I will just take us through that before we dive into the reason why we are attending this webinar this afternoon. So the initiative aims to foster institutional change in the academic field of economics to facilitate gender equitable leadership, women's career advancement, and access to economic leadership opportunities in Nigeria. And we are focused on, I think 6 universities. We have the University of Maiduguri, University of Lagos, University of Ibadan, University of Benin, BUK, and the Nile University as well. So this cuts across different geopolitical zones. And these are also the focus universities because we believe these universities, they are, some of our top universities in Nigeria. And we believe that if change starts from here, then it could spread to other universities as well across the country. And our target groups, undergraduates, we also have our postgraduate students here as well to early careers. And then we have our mid-senior level academia here. That is our lecturers. So these are our target groups, that we'll be working with for the period we'll be driving this initiative. So at the beginning, that was in 2024, we did a preliminary assessment across these universities just to gather evidence, to understand, what are the issues in these universities, focusing on economics, economics department. And some of the barriers we identified across these universities, for mid and senior level academics, one major barrier that stood out was unfair promotion and discriminatory practices. While for undergraduate students, some of the barriers include, lack of clear career path awareness. Some people are not even sure what, they'll be doing after graduating from the economics department. And of course, we had issues around sexual gender-based violence. We had issue around low confidence and, agency in leadership opportunities. That even when students are offered some of these leadership opportunities, particularly the female students, they lack that confidence to take ownership of these opportunities. And of course, across the postgraduate students, there was gender bias in recruitment practices. And then the issue around balancing productive and reproductive roles, for the females, trying to build a career and then also trying to run the home. So these were some of the issues that we gathered from that preliminary assessment in 2024. And that is what has brought us here today. I'm sure some of us were invited for a co-creation workshop based on those preliminary evidence that we gathered, and we'll be able to come up with, different solutions, how to go forward, across these universities. So the co-creation workshop happened in Lagos and also in Abuja as well. So basically, for the period we'll be driving this initiative, some of the outcomes we are hoping to achieve include designing gender-responsive academic policies, implementation of a gender-responsive policy, enabling safe reporting mechanisms for sexual harassment, and then institutionalizing mentorship systems to strengthen women's academic pathways in economics. And that's why we have come up with this webinar as well this afternoon, to hear from a senior colleague. Then building gender responsive data and feedback systems. Okay, so all of these outcomes were based on those barriers we identified during our preliminary assessment. So I think I'll be stopping here. So I'm hoping that we are going to, be having a good time this afternoon as we listen to our guest speaker. I'm sure we'll start having questions. So as we listen, you put down your questions. Let's make it participatory. If we are asked to, participate in any voting, it would be good that every one of us participate because we are all co-creating solutions together. We can't tell you what will work in your university, but we hope that, with your solutions, with your ideas, we'll be able to come up with solutions that will work effectively in your respective institutions. So once again, thank you for joining the webinar this afternoon. Thank you. Over to you, Olawumi.
Thank you so much for that beautiful introduction, ma'am. Thank you so much. Before we go ahead, I got notification that some people could not hear. Please, can you confirm that you can hear now? Thank you very much. Okay, before we bring in our guest speaker, the next item on our agenda is our watch party. I'm sure everyone is really looking forward to what we actually have on that watch party. I'm sure we cannot wait. Everybody cannot wait to see what we have there. So just a few seconds and our video will be up. Thank you. Thank you. We would move to the next thing on the agenda while we are fixing the video. We are so sorry for that. Please, let's welcome our guest speaker, our honorable speaker to the floor, Dr. Faith Ira. We are so glad to have you here. We are so glad that you've created time to be here with us this afternoon. And we can't wait to hear from you. We can't wait to hear all the marvelous, all the amazing things, you sharing your experience with us this afternoon. Thank you so much. You're welcome, ma.
Thank you very much, Olawumi. Thank you for having me. Good afternoon, everyone. I hope you can hear me. Can everybody hear me?
Yes, we can hear
Yes,
you, ma.
Great, thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. Let me start by thanking Policy Innovation Center for organizing this event under the Swole initiative. It is one of its kind, and I'm truly honored to be here today to share my experience with young female economists. I'm also young, so I'm not old, so we are all learning together. So like she said, my name is Faith Yoha. I'm a senior economics at the Nigeria Economic Summit Group. Aside that, I do a lot of other things in addition to just research with the think tank. So I'm particularly excited about this session because it speaks to something very important and dear to my heart. Speaks to inspiring more women to see economics as not just the cause, but the powerful tool to shape the society, a powerful tool to even get yourself organized, a powerful tool to know when and how to do things, especially given the fact that we are in the Nigerian economy and a lot of things is happening at the same time. And then it also helps you to rethink strategy, to rethink how you even position yourself for the profession. Now, when many people hear economics, I like the poll that we just had. They say, what is economics? Some person said chart, money, policy. I think what was the last one? I can't recall. I was hearing her saying chart, policy, and things like that. Yes. When you hear economics, what immediately comes to mind, like we all agreed, is money, chart, policy. Some persons think it's difficult equation. Some think it's mathematics. I was just speaking with some set of students yesterday, and I was like, economics is what, mathematics is what sports economics, and they were all laughing. But I want to start by saying this clearly. Economics is really about people. It's about how we organize people. It's about the choices and decisions they make. It's about opportunities and solving real life problems. So economics is essentially what you encounter on a daily basis, but you don't really know it's economics except you've studied the course. So when we talk about fuel subsidy, everybody is aware of subsidy, right? Subsidy is a topic in economics. And then you need to understand the implication of subsidy. Essentially, subsidy means you are giving money either to the producer or to the consumer to reduce the cost of accessing some essential activities. That's what it means. And so everybody know about it. But then in economics, we tell you, how do you solve for the problem of economics, of subsidy? And that's where we are driving at, that economics is really about you, it's really about your day-to-day activities. And today, I will share 3 things with you. One, I will talk about my journey in economics, the challenges and lessons along the way, and why I believe economics is one of the most powerful degree you can pursue as a female or even as an individual, even as a male. Economics is a very powerful degree. You see people studying engineering, studying medicine, and still trying to come and understand the economics implication of things and how it affects them in their profession. So economics is powerful, and it cuts across board. It cuts across different disciplines. My journey into economics did not start with me having everything figured out. Like many of us or some of us, my intention was not to study economics, but I was given economics, leverage access. So what actually happened, I did have a very good JAM score. I scored about 235 those days, but then economics was very high. I think the cutoff mark then was about 280, and so I could not get access to economics. However, I was still able to get in. But then because I had chose accounting, then banking and finance. So my mindset as a young chap just finishing secondary school is I want to be in the bank, I want to work in the bank. Everybody have that because that was the in thing in those days. And so that was what I wanted to do. But when my JAM score did not hit, and mind you, that was my first JAM, it didn't get to that cutoff. So leverage access to the head of department in those days. And I was like, oh, not bad. Let's see what we can do. And so my name came out in the third batch. And then, boom, I had to go to school. And school I started about a month or 2 months ago. I jumped into school and I started my journey. Like many of you, I was trying to understand what paths to take and what I truly enjoyed. So the next thought was, if I can't get accounting, banking, and finance, can I do some certification? However, my first meeting with accounting in year one was not palatable. I did not like accounting. And then I said, oh, God, thank you. Thank you, because I didn't go to accounting because it would have been really frustrating. I took accounting in year one and year two. And then it was really not easy because I didn't do it in secondary school. It was my first interface or my first encounter with accounting. And there was this big textbook, Frank Hood, and the people that have done it before, they were excited about it, and I was struggling. However, I still made up my mind that even if I was going to struggle, at least nothing less than a C. And so it means I had to put more effort. I had to burn midnight candles. And so I also, I would say that students of these days, to an extent, you're largely privileged because then we did not have access to computers. I was just an average student. I could hardly buy my textbook. I only have notebooks. And once in a while, I access the library because I don't really like some of the textbook, but just the calmness of the library is what gives me that flair to want to go to the library. I usually read in my room. So I had to borrow my classmates' textbook, read overnight, return, and things like that, just to be able to balance up. Now, these days, you have access to internet, you have access to different AI that can help you break things down. So I just think some of the things that you encounter these days will be around distraction, and it's just about how you can manage your time well and try to really focus. So essentially during that period is when I got to really settle down to say, thank you, I didn't do accounting, then this is economics, let me really focus. I enjoyed economics because it was things I could relate with, even if, like, you have lecturers that cannot really pass knowledge, that cannot explain some of the things, even if they try, they struggle, there are areas where they are good at. So I always just try to pay attention in class. I was not very good at a lot of reading, but I made sure I was always in class. At least before you count the first 3 seats, you see me sitting down, rapid attention, and I was always taking notes. I can tell you that my note was the most borrowed note in my class. as at 2005 to 2008 because I was always in class. But there were times I was not in class due to some circumstances. I had to miss classes for one reason or the other. And these reasons were actually out of my control. I could not avert it. So things like that happen. So there are certain moments that I can say shaped my journey when I was studying. The first one was my encounter with one of my course advisor. May God rest his soul. He was very intelligent, very smart. It was really good. And the encounter was not palatable, but the encounter is what bet my transition and my understanding to what I can do as an economist. So that encounter was that the result was posted on the board and my result was missing, nothing available. Everything was NA. It means I did not sit for the exam. And I had to go and meet him. And I'm like, I sat for this exam and I signed all the attendance sheet and things like that. And it was like, you females, when you don't write exam, you say that your scripts are missing or your scores are missing. You didn't do the exam, go. And he just pushed me away. And I was really adamant. I went to him that I'm not that kind of student. Please check, my results are missing and I need to find not just one, all the results, about 9 or 8 courses missing. And so he said, okay, meet me in my office. I went to his office and he started checking his laptop and then he found my results. And luckily for me, I cleared all my papers and was like, whoa. So it was an error. Where did he find my result? He found it in the trash can. So it was among those things that he has deleted and then he found it in the trash can and he saw my result and I had to still go and write to the department for my results to be released. And so my result was not published. And so that was how he picked me in class and we started relating. And then he became my mentor. At 300 level, he left. But then he has already taught me one course. He taught us, not just me, he taught us econometrics. And then he laid a very good foundation for econometrics. So after that encounter with him for econometrics, I wasn't scared of econometrics because when you hear of econometrics, it's something that scares you, that bores you. But I was not scared because someone laid a very good foundation. And so I did started, and when he left school, he left and went to another school. So essentially, he went to Lagos Business School, and I kept tab. So I kept in touch with him. Just to mention that that case of missing results happened again to me in year 3. So it was as if someone was pursuing me, and then this was a different supervisor, and I had to approach him. And the same thing till today, we still talk, we are still in touch. So when he went to Lagos Business School, I kept in touch. And in my final year, I reached out to him. I wanted to do my, what's it called? My project. What should I do? It was like, just do something that you like, something that interests you. So I came up with a topic. But then, like I said, we did not have access to the internet. And what I did was I called him, I called everybody that I know that, okay, help me to just download around this topic, send it to my mailbox. At night, I do all night browsing because it is cheaper and I have a longer time. So you pay like 120 naira for overnight from 12 to 6 a.m. So I go there, download into a flash. Then I did not have a laptop and I did not have a phone that could access all this, read all this. I don't think then we really have this kind of digitized phone. So I usually just download, get a flash. It wasn't a flash, then it was a disk drive. Get a disk drive. Some of my classmates were more endowed and they have all the gadgets that they need. So I borrow it overnight things, and that's how I just find my way. And then I kept tab with my mentor. So when I finished, during my service, I was like, sir, what's the next way out? He said, go and do your master's. So first point to note is that it's important to have a mentor, someone you can easily talk to, that you can ask the question and that can really show you the guide. And he said, if you can do your master's, I can take you as my research assistant. And so yes, immediately, even before I finished my service, I bought the form. I went back for my master's. Immediately, I wrote my last paper. I've not even done my project during my master's. I reached out to him that I'm through with my coursework and I'm about to start my project. And he said, all right, start coming to Lagos and come and start working for me. That was how I jumped in. Now, my mentor introduced me to someone else, another faculty at the Lagos Business School. And what I saw was that they were economists, but they were economists with difference. They were teaching, they were consulting, they were also on the board of different organizations. And then they asked me, what do you want to do? I said, I just want to be like you. I want to be an economist. I want to teach. I want to be a policymaker. I want to be a consultant. I want to be an advisor. So because I was seeing people, I could really know what part or what I want to do. And then I was expecting their guides. Now, it's important to note that before I entered the uni, before I get into uni, my basic career path was changed from banking to teaching, that I want to teach. I want to be a teacher. Reason was because I felt being a teacher gives you more time for your family. You do what you want to do. However, the flair for teaching was it was not routine. You can always reinvent yourself. You can learn and relearn and unlearn. And you are passing knowledge. You're meeting people that challenge what you already know and things like that. And so this was still within the things I had said to them that I want to be, and that's what they were also doing at that time. So importantly, conversation with the mentor or someone that can guide is very important. However, it is important to know that it was not always smooth. There were times I questioned myself, especially when I started working as a research assistant. It looks like after my master's, it looks like I don't know anything, because then, unlike now, you have access to software, you have access to, you understand that you need to have a data analytics skill. Then I don't. And when I got into ROA, I understand that I need to know how to use Excel. I need to know how to use Microsoft Fit, eViews. So then at my undergraduate level, BSc and Masters, I don't even know the softwares that they use for econometrics. I could only hear of them. I have not seen them. I saw them. I saw eViews the first time when I was about to leave Masters. No, MFit, Microsoft Fit, which people don't use again as much. When I was about to leave my master's, somebody came to do a training and I didn't even understand the process. But when I started as an ROA, my mentor who I was working with as an ROA, when I say ROA, I hope you understand, research assistant, introduced me to eViews. He taught me eViews step by step, and I was able to start using eViews. I was not abreast with eViews. Basically, eViews is the major tool that I use. Now the Starter, I can't really use Starter, but I'm trying to learn. You have Python, you have RAT, you have a lot of other software, and it's important. If you can get your hands on it, if you can learn it, please do learn them. But over time, I realized that growth often comes from discomfort, because when I started, I have to start doing overnight. It looks like I'm still back to school. So I close my work at about 5, get to my house maybe 7 after taking care of the house and things like that. Sometimes I stay from 12 to 4 a.m. trying to make sure that I'm able to do what they want me to do the next day. So I want to do it ahead, not on that day I'm now struggling. So I try to make sure I can do this, get to an extent. And during that period, it was a success. It paid off. Like I said, growth comes from what? From discomfort. And those moments became a defining point in my journey. Now, it's also important, after being an ROA with my mentor at Lagos Business School, I said he introduced me to another mentor. And so I moved to the other mentor's office, also as a principal economist. Even though I have a master's, then I also encountered younger economists who have been in the field, and what they were doing, I found that I can't do it. I had to now learn how to draw charts, different charts using Excel, how to make the charts more attractive, how to mix colors and things like that. So I had to start learning Excel. Thank God my colleagues were good enough to say, okay, how did you do this chart? They'll just say, I'll say, come and help me. They'll just show me, and then that was how I learned. But sometimes you don't have that kind of colleagues, because some recent colleagues does not really want to teach you, so you have to stumble and fall. And thank God you have YouTube, you have a lot of other software that you can have. If you meet a very open person, the person can help you. Now, basically, what were the challenges and how I navigate them? To be honest, studying economics comes with challenges. One of the first challenge is perception. There's a certain belief that economics is too hard, too technical, too demanding. So you may have to pay attention, you have to study. The good thing is once you understand it, it sticks. But it may take you time to understand. And are you willing to give that time? Are you dogged enough or rugged enough to look out for what is this thing about? How do I really understand it? Another challenge is that economics is very quantitative. There are quantitative aspects. You have statistics, you have econometrics. But if you have a good teacher that breaks it down, it becomes easier. And then one other thing we missed out in my own time was the fact that there was no experiential learning. So you're just learning the theories, you're just reading and cramming textbook. There's no practical, somebody holding your hands to say, okay, if you want to do this chart, you can do it in Excel or you can do it in what's it called, eViews or any of the software. Yeah, you can use this code to generate these tables and things like that. To be frank and candid with every one of you, even till now, I'm still learning. Like I told you, I'm just trying to learn startup. These learning phase and challenges can feel intimidating, but you must not discourage yourself. The first encourager you should have is yourself. Always tell yourself you can do it. It may take time, but you can do it if you give yourself to it. And then there's issue of access. What are the opportunities? In those days, we were really afraid of our lecturers, except those that are very receptive. Like my mentor was very receptive. I don't even go close to the staff room area. You can't see me there. You see me in class. After class, I disappear, go back to my room or go to the library or go and look for a quiet place to read. You cannot see me except I'm actually looking for something. And those aspects has implication too. Find a lecturer that you think is receptive, that you can talk to. That person can be your mentor, especially if the person is doing what you think you want to do. Even if it's a male, you know your distance, you can keep your distance, be cordial, speak to the person. Once you see that the person is going to an extent that you think it's giving you some kind of vibes, you can quickly just stretch yourself, stay out of that person's path so that it does not degenerate to something that you don't want. You need to have the right network. Now, my mentor linked me to another person. Even though my first mentor is late, the other person is still with me. And through the other person, I have had access to many other open doors. I can tell you most of the things I do now is because I had this mentor with me who recommends me. And because I've worked with him, once people know that I've worked with him and they're like, if you can work with this person, then it means you can work with me. Even if they don't know whether I can do it. And I will also advise, don't always put yourself that you can't do it. Understand what the person is asking for. Understand what they are looking for. Go back and see what it is, what it takes, and put yourself together to get the skills that is required. Here is what helped me. The first thing that helped me in this process was I focused on consistency over perfection. I am not perfect. And even till now, when I meet my colleagues, I tell them that I don't know this thing. You can teach me. Please teach me. Find time to teach me. If you're doing something I think is interesting, I'll say, can we fix a time? Can you teach me? And things like that. So focus on consistency. You're not perfect. You want to learn. Be open to learning. Nobody knows it all. Second, I also sought support from friends, mentor, advice, even from peers, even junior peers and senior peers. I just call them, speak with them, know what's the intent. These days is AI. I can tell you one of my younger colleagues is the one that is telling me about AI. I've been hearing about ChatGPT. I have never used ChatGPT until the person started telling me a lot of other things. It can help you with research. You have to be able to prompt it well and things like that. And those are things I don't know. So it's about how you use them. It's not whether you're using them or not. Because most people, everybody, even those at the top, they are using it. They can be using professional version, but it's about how they use them. So the ChatGPT is bringing like a first draft, you're using your head to fine tune. And sometimes you can draft things from your head and give it to the AI to, to interrogate it. So that is what makes you human. And then they are interrogating you, are saying, no, this is not what, this does not align with what you know. Then, and also it's important to know that economics is not fixed, it's evolving. So you must evolve. You must always be at the top of your game, know the news, know what's happening, know how it affects company, know how it affects you as an individual, know how it affects household, know how government is thinking about it, and what different ways should we be thinking about it. Now, the third challenge is the third thing I remind myself is that being challenged does not mean you do not belong, right? You may look as if you don't know it because people around you, they do know, they know it. Don't always feel you don't belong. Feel I belong, but if these people know more than me, I need to speak with them to teach me and tell me how I can learn it. And that's something I want you to remember. If something feels difficult, it is not a sign to quit. It is often a sign that you're growing, that you should stretch yourself and leave your comfort zone. Now, why is economics powerful? A basic reason why we can say economics is powerful, because it gives you the ability to understand the world and influence the world around you. You can influence, you can analyze issues, and you can use it to interrogate policy. You can have a voice even without working. These days, you even have a LinkedIn. You can post your thoughts, and then people are seeing you. And from that, someone can reach out to you that, oh, you're good in this area. Can we collaborate and things like that? So it does not necessarily mean you have to work. Even when you don't have a job, you can still post your thoughts about issues and you can still remain relevant. So within the context of what you can do with your economics degree, you can work as a policy maker, you can be in a development area, you can be in government, you can be in a think tank, you can be in a research institute, you can be in an international organization like the IMF, the World Bank, you can be in banking and finance, you can consult, you can do advisory, you can do advocacy, you can do corporate strategy, you can do data analysis, you can do macroeconomic implication of economics trend or events on company. You can do monitoring and evaluation of policy. You can do impact evaluation. You can teach. You can do research. I've talked about policy advisory as well. Now, the emphasis is the fact that economics is very flexible. Now, I've mentioned about 4 to 5 areas where you can work. You can work in the bank because the bank have research department or strategy department. You can also work with any multinationals. If they have a strategy or research department, you can work there. So you're not boxed in with economics degree. If you have an economics degree, you're not boxed in. You have a very flexible area of extent that you can work. Now, what are the practical advice I'd like to give to students, early career professionals, advanced students? First is the first advice is that build a strong foundation in core courses. Microeconomics, macroeconomics, macro synthesis, development, policy analysis, understanding policy, fiscal policy, monetary policy, regulatory policy, statistics, and econometrics. Fantastic. Then you can decide to say, okay, I want to streamline. Now, we have labor economics, we have managerial economics, we have developmental economics. Now we are talking about gender economics. We are even having energy economics. So there are a lot of things. Climate change is also a thing And we're trying to also look at what's the economics of climate change and things like that. Develop practical skills, hard skills, and soft skills as well. In terms of hard skills, you should be able to use Excel, should be able to use the recent software, Stata, eViews, Python, RAT, and things like that. Whatever software that I think it's being used, yes, learn it. Then when you get to whatever area you're going to, and you see that there's a deficiency in something that you should have and you don't have, and they use it there, learn it as rapidly as possible. It may take you some sleepless nights. Please learn it and become relevant. Now, the more relevant you become, the more indispensable that you become. They keep you for a longer time. It's important to know that nobody is indispensable, right? But when you have those skills, it makes you more relevant. Now, the third thing is about early exposure. Have a mentor, someone that brings you into things, someone that trusts you. Even if you don't trust yourself, right? Get someone that actually trusts you, that can say, you can do these things. And that really gives you a push to go and learn those things or do those things. Apply for internship early if you have that opportunity, if you have a window to do that. In fact, I never knew about internships. So any holiday that I have, I just blew it. I just say, let me go and rest and come back and face school again. But now there's internship opportunity to reach out to companies that, you are available. But the major problem is some of them will not be able to pay you as much. Some of them does not even have money to pay you. So if the place is close to your house that you can go and learn one or two things, why not just work? You can even enter into an agreement. Since I'm not being paid, but this place is close to my house, maybe I can walk down, or the transport or the tea fare is not very expensive. Can I come in twice in a week or 3 times in a week? While you're there, try to learn one or two things. But invest in your ability to write and communicate. I cannot overemphasize this. So I did not like English, but when I got into ROA, I have to learn how to write. I did not like comprehension at all, comprehension. And that's what communication is about. And that's what writing is about. You must be able to articulate your statement in paragraphs. What do you want to say? What's the flow? Currently, I don't like English, but I tell you, I do a lot of reviews. And I review documents. Sometimes I review like 4 documents in a week, 5 documents, heavy documents in a week, even if I don't like English. But I've trained myself to understand communication, how to communicate this in a simple way that you don't confuse your audience. And then it's important to learn skills like PowerPoint design, PowerPoint presentation is also important. Even design, these days you have Canva and so many other softwares that can help you with your PowerPoint and then some other designs, right? But you must think through what you are presenting and if it is really giving that vibe and if it is simple enough, because sometimes they give you complicated design that even you can't explain and the audience finds it difficult to understand or consume that document. Finally, do not talk yourself out of opportunity before even trying. I have been in that space that when I see opportunity, I'll say, I don't have the strength for it. Now I'm not looking for opportunities, and then my age is cutting me. So you now see opportunities, they'll say females should apply, and you're saying not more than 30 years old, and that's or not more than 35 years old. And I'm like, I can't do this. So look out for opportunities, be on the look out for internship, paid internship for undergraduates or summer internship. Just be on the lookout. You don't know which one. And so package your presentation. Okay, they'll say, okay, write an essay about why do you think you'll be the best candidate, as a statement of purpose and things like that. Package it. And so recently, I now understand that those opportunities are important. And I started applying. I just started applying maybe 2 or 3 years ago, and I've been getting, sometimes I get to final stage, sometimes I'm giving the scholarship, sometimes I'm not. The truth is, what's it called? The fact that you get a negative reply does not mean that you cannot get any other one. Then finally, why women should study economics. For a woman, I will tell you, it's really not easy, especially when you're also thinking of having a family. but you must have a supportive partner and a supportive family. And then you must build systems and structures around yourself that helps you achieve. Now, these days, some organizations have become flexible. You have remote work now because economics does not really need you. What you do as an economics does not most times need you to interface with people like customers' relationship. You don't need to interface. So you can do a lot of remote work. You can work from home. You can do hybrid work. So that flexibility helps you. Now, as an economics, you have that flexibility in most organizations. So it helps you to be able to manage your home, especially when you have to cook, you have to take care of your children, you have to make sure that things are available in the house and all that. Now, in terms of structure, get people that can help you. Now, let me bring it back to today's theme. Why do you study economics today? We have said for policy making, economic research gives you access to leadership role. Now, I think my time is fast spent. I will just close. As I close, I want you to remember this. Economics is not just about numbers, graph, equations. It's about impact. It's about influence. It's about shaping the future. And as a woman, our voice is very important on the table. It brings that balance that we need to have in policy making and in leadership. And it's important to know that there's space for every female in this field. It depends on how you position yourself. Do not be intimidated, be curious, be bold, and always take that step. I want to say thank you very much for listening to me, and I look forward to your questions. Any question, please? Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ma. Thank you so much, Ma. That was a very, very insightful session. You said a lot, and I'm sure a lot of us are taking down notes that we are going to be unpacking for a very long time. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
It's time for questions. Please, we can drop our questions in the chat box. I'll be reading out and she'll be answering them. So while we are dropping our question, I just want to quickly say thank you once again, Ma. At the beginning, I know I dropped a poll where I said, what comes to mind when you hear economics? And she just literally answered that question for us at the end of our session. She said, economics is not about money, it's not about graph, it's not just about money, it's not just about graph, it's about impact, it's about influence, and it's about shaping the future. And I'm sure that has given us more insight into what economics is. Yes, the poll we had earlier. So please let's drop our questions. Let's drop our questions in the chat box so that she can quickly answer them and we can. Okay, so somebody said, could you please repeat the different areas an economic student can specialize in or streamline towards? Ma, you are muted. We can't hear you.
Okay, thank you. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you now.
Can you hear me? Okay,
Yes, we
great.
can hear you now.
So I mentioned that you can be in policy and development, so you can work with government. And when we talk about government, you can work in government parastatals, CBN, MBS. They have department for economics. They have department for statistics. So if you did statistics, they have department where you can bring your economists to be in their statistical processes. You can work directly with government as government advisor, as chief economic advisor to the government. You can work in a think tank where thought leadership is the thing. So you want to drive conversation based on a new thought different from what is existing. You can work with research institutes where they are always trying to find out. Just to mention that one thing that drew me to economics when I started was the fact that economics was not routine, and I did not want routine. I needed something that is changing, that is evolving, and so I am always also changing at the same time because routine boredom does not keep me going. You can work with international organizations, you can work with private sector. I mentioned banks. I mentioned the fact that you can work in their strategy department, in their research department. You can work in a consulting firm. You can work in a corporate strategy company as well. You can work as a data and analytics person using your econometrics and your statistics. You can use your e-views and your Excel and things like that. can work as an impact evaluator or impact monitoring person. So you want to evaluate the impact of a policy. You can work as a teacher, as an academia. You can work as a policy advisory to the government. Now, in terms of the broad areas, for me, you must understand micro, macro. You must understand policy, monetary policy, fiscal policy, regulatory policy, trade policy, income policy, wage policy. You should understand those policies. You should understand the phases of development, what is happening, and what is always happening. Development is continuous, what is always happening. Aside that, there are other areas I've talked about energy, I've talked about environmental economics, I've talked about managerial economics, labor economics. So in Nigeria, I think labor economics is not the in thing now. And what's it called? Managerial, not really the in thing, but you can just learn it as aside. But what is really evolving is environmental and energy. And so these are areas you can go. You can go to public sector, economics. I talk about financial economics as well, monetary and financial economics. You also have international trade and finance as well. So it is broad, it is broad-based. Thank you. I hope I've answered that question.
Yes, thank you so much, Ma. We'll move to the next question now. So this person said, what's one uncomfortable truth about working in economics or succeeding in the field that you wish more young economists understood earlier?
Is the fact that you just continue reading. You continue reading, continue trying to understand issues in a different perspective. You cannot do without. It looks like you are in the school, in your school all the days of your life, because you just continue reading. Except you want to just focus on one small aspect. But if you want to be really relevant across board, you cannot do without. If you want to be a lecturer, you want to be a researcher, you want to be a policy maker and advisor, you just have to be broad and continuously reading, continuously evolving yourself, learning skills. And also, if you want to be a teacher, how do you pass it on? How do you teach the people that are going to learn from you? How do you make it less difficult for them? Yes. Next question. I hope I've answered that. Yes.
Yes, Ma, you've answered, Ma. The next question, this person asked two questions, so I will read the two together. How can young women in economics build confidence and visibility in spaces that are often male-dominated? That's the first question. Now to the second question. How can student leaders create stronger support system for female students in academic environments?
So in terms of build confidence and visibility, you have to remember I mentioned consistency. It's not, you don't just start one day and you just be out there. You have an organization you're working with, or you have a firm that you set up. You must create that structure that helps you to be in the media, and on your own, tell yourself that you can do it. That's how to build confidence. And another way to build confidence is preparation. Because if you don't prepare, you're going to goof. There's no two ways about it. So prepare. Even for this session, I have to prepare. Even if it is my experience, I have to synchronize my thoughts, right? So preparation is what gives you that confidence. Once you're prepared, you show up and then you just say it because you have put it inside, you have built it, your confidence of what you're saying. Now, people can challenge your perspective. That doesn't mean that your perspective is totally wrong. So you must also be open to people feedback and critiques. Critiques makes you better. It helps you to see differently from the way you're seeing, and it opens your mind. I think the next question was about student leadership, something, creating what? Can you help me with that?
Yes,
Olawe?
yes, Ma. Yes, Ma. So the second question is, how can student leaders create stronger support systems for female students in academic environments?
Okay. I can tell you I'm in an academic environment because I teach, but one challenge is females sometimes just switch off when they don't understand, they'll say, I'll go and learn it. Now, you need to start fishing out those people maybe in your class that are switching off. And then you need to then maybe help them create maybe a tutorial session for them. So that the truth is, when they understand, when they learn, they become more confident, and then they can deliver, they can perform well in the academics. But when they don't know it, there is no way you can force what someone does not know to come out. So I think one way is maybe build a tutorial system for them. And then it is not only a female that should deliver that tutorial session. It can be delivered by a male. If you have a male in your class in a higher level that you know that this person is good, let the person deliver the session. If you have a female that you know that this person is good, let the person deliver the session, and let the person deliver it to the best of their capacity. And then be free to you can go in pairs to meet the lecturers and see if there's any way the person can help, or refer you to a text that makes the topic or the course in question more simplified. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ma. The next question is, what are the challenges likely to be faced as a woman trying to pursue a career in economics leadership in Nigeria?
Okay. I mean, I think as a woman, you're saying someone that has a family. Can you confirm that?
Okay. While we are trying to confirm that, maybe we move to the next question because person would have to drop another message to confirm that. Okay. So the next question is, as an undergraduate in 100 level, can one know which area to specialize in? And I think you already answered that question broadly when you were answering the first question. So I will just move to the next question. My question
let me
is,
just say one thing. Let me quickly say something.
Okay.
Now, when they say specialization in economics, I don't believe in specialization. Be vast. Now, let me tell you something. At the master's level, they will say, do micro, macro, econometrics, or mathematics, and pick any other 2 or 3 subjects you want to specialize. That is academically. Now, there are so many other things. If you ask me now, can I do energy economics? I have not done it before. But give me time, I'll go and learn it. So when they talk about specialization, you may just say, oh, I've specialized in this. You're really not an expert until you start practicing. So be vast. Do all the courses that they throw at you, because at 100 level, they throw all the courses at you. I don't know if you have elective. At my own time, there was no elective. We really started doing elective in year 3 and year 4 during my own time. So do all the courses. If you ask me basic courses, I will advise all economic students to do, especially if they are elective. I don't think micro and macro is elective. It's a must, right? I will advise you must do micro and macro, do econometrics, do statistics, do research methodology, because they will teach you, I think it's compulsory, do research methodology. Now, if you have a brain to read a lot, do development. Me, I did not have brain to read a lot while I was in school. So I ran away from development, because then my development lecturer almost made it boring for me, because I encountered that in undergraduate, and during masters, I ran away. At undergraduate, she brings every download she sees on a weekly basis. She brings it. And so you are confused. You have a pile of textbooks, downloads from the internet that you need to read. This is MDGs. This is Millennium Development Goals. This is 7-point agenda, and all those things. And there were so much. And so when I was able to scale through at my undergraduate, at least I scaled through with a C. I never got a B. That's to tell you that was not my strength. But at master's, it became optional and I didn't do it. And the reason why I did not do it is clear. So I called my mentor and I asked him that these are my strengths, but I know this is important. And he just said, go and do where you have strength, because at your master's level, you are looking for a PhD grade to be able to do a PhD. And if you choose courses where you don't have strength and you get below a C, you will not get a PhD grade, meaning you have to do what's it called, MPhil. And that was what settled it. I just did courses where I have strength. So even if you do courses where you have strength, be vast, be broad, be open to learning. Thank you. That's for the year 1 student. Next question, please.
Yes, thank you so much, Ma. So the other person that asked about a young female studying economics, she had updated her question. She said,
Okay.
as a married woman and young girl trying to
Ah.
pursue a career.
I will use myself as an example. So when I started, I actually finished school, I think at about 22, 23. And I went back to do my master's. I think at about 25, I was done with master's, 25, 26, I was done with master's. And so I was already working and I wanted to do a PhD. The first discouragement is that, yeah, a female, go and marry. They will tell you that female does not have time, your body will change, you may not be able to give birth. Only God that orchestrates all that. He knows why. But I would say it's good to marry early. But if you cannot find someone to marry, you can continue to study until you find the person. And it's important to know it was when I went for my PhD. After 3 years of saying, okay, I'm waiting, I want to get what was it called? Admission abroad. And I finally went back to my school to do my PhD. That was when I met my husband. Now, when we talk about challenges, I mentioned the fact that you need someone that understands where you are going to and is ready to support you and is giving it all it takes. And so what dragged me close to my husband was the fact that he just told me that I know what you're pursuing and whatever you want to do, I will support you. So you need a supportive partner. Now you also need a supportive family because sometimes you will need people to be around you to take care of some things when you're not available. And the other point is you must create a structure around yourself. If you're not available, is there someone that you can pay to come in, take care of the house, maybe clean, sweep, help you take care of the children before you come back from work? Because you definitely go to work. And so that's the kind of structure I've created around myself. My husband is very supportive. Sometimes I travel for 4 days, but I make sure that there's food at home. I'll tell you, like last night, I was in the kitchen from like 7 p.m. till about 10 in the night because I noticed that my soups run down and I have to prepare 3 soups so that my freezer is stocked. Anytime I want to go out, I know that, okay, there is food available. It's just to bring out and warm. Then I have somebody that comes in between the hours of 2 when my children are closed from school, sometimes helps us to pick my children, bring them home, take care of them till about 6 or 7. When I return from work, then I resume my duties. So you must create structure around yourself and you must continue to make time out to study. Sometimes I sleep 12 o'clock. Sometimes I do 12 till daybreak so that I can meet up. So I can maybe sleep 4 o'clock. I sleep for 1 hour or 2 hours and I still quickly need to jump out and go to work. And remember what I said, flexibility. I have that flexibility and thank God for where I work. And even before I got where I was working, I've been in where I'm working for about 6 years now. Even before I got there, I already have created that flex work for myself. I started flex work since about 2013 because, like I told you, I started working with my mentor. And when they give me work, sometimes I stay overnight to deliver. I deliver at 4 a.m. because I know it is needed in the morning. And by the time I deliver, I tell my guy, I'm not able to come this morning. No, you can see I did not sleep. Please, maybe I will come later in the day. And he will just say, take the day off. You can work from home. And so that's how I got into flex work. So I was always doing this flex work. Even when I was doing my PhD, I was working remotely from wherever I am as well because of the flexibility. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ma. The next
Yeah.
question is, at what point of one's education can he or she take a particular area of interest? And if you're someone who is not good in calculation, what areas can you specialize in?
Okay. Don't say you're not good in calculation. Put your mind to it, understand the rudiments, and you will get it now. Because it is school, you must do calculation. For example, there's no way you can run away from econometrics or statistics. It is compulsory, and you will calculate it with hand during exam. You will not use software. So just make up your mind. Like what I do when I know that a course is very difficult, I give it all it takes, and I tell myself the worst is a C and nothing below a C. And so I try to, when the Socrates said, "Man, know thyself," and the Bible said, examine yourself. Know who you are, know the courses where you have strength, know the courses where you are weak. Now, for those courses I am weak, I read them every day. I did not say study. There's a difference between reading and studying. Even if I don't know it, I will open my eyes and be looking at it. So read it, put it that this one, no, every day. Those ones that you are good at, that you know this is your strength, you can make it flexible. You can say, okay, I'll read you Monday, Tuesday, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. The other one, Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday. You just make it flexible, but you must know math. Now, when you talk about at what point do you choose, like I told you, be vast, give yourself that freedom, explore. You may not be good at it, but know a bit of everything. Even as an economist, know a bit of everything. Know a bit of finance, know a bit of electricity, know a bit of engineering, know a bit of automobile. No, just know a bit of everything. It helps your conversation. Thank you. I hope I answered
Thank
that
you,
question.
Ma. Yes, Ma, I believe so. The next question is, please tell us more about climate economics.
Climate economics. I'm not a climate economist,
Yeah.
but I know there is something around climate. So the issue about climate is that there is this ozone layer breaking up, right? And so as a result, the weather becomes extremely hot. Maybe in those days, if you really know, then I can recall vividly that when it is October, when I was in primary school, my body is always white because Harmattan would have started. Now, I cannot remember the last time we really had serious Harmattan that can make your body white, right? So it means something has changed somewhere. And that has implication for agric, right? It affects farm produce. You must now know how to plant. You must know how much irrigation system you must use. And so climate condition is not just affecting human beings, it is affecting agriculture, and agriculture is important for food. And then in economics, when we talk about sectors in economics, agric is one of the sectors. Agric is important for food security. And if people are not eating well, that's implication for productivity and the whole health of the economy. So you see, we have now brought climate into agric, which is an economic aspect of our human day-to-day lives. And so if you want to say climate economics is how do we reduce factors that are causing ozone layer to be depleted? How do we reduce carbon emission? Even though they are saying that you should reduce, now who are those that are emitting more? How do we tax them? You see, I brought taxation. How do we tax them to reduce their emission? And those that are not emitting as much, how do we then give them the benefits? What benefit can we give them? How do we compensate them for not emitting as much? And what proportion should people emit? What is the proportion of emission that is required in an environment? So it is not just about someone that did climate or meteorology. It's not about the cost and the benefits of emission. And that's where economics really comes in to say, okay, let's cost it. Let's know what's the proportion of emission and what's the amount and how we can then find a balance. Because you cannot say people should not emit gaseous waste, because that's part of production process. So how do we then minimize the emission that people commit? Aside that, I also mentioned environment. You can talk about Diogonis spillage in the oil riverine community, how it's affecting that community, how do we reduce it, how do we compensate them? That's essentially economics. And when that policy is in place, how do you now evaluate the impact of that policy? I hope I've answered your question.
Yes, Ma. I think we'll just take two more questions so that we can
Okay.
move on to other things.
All right.
This person said, should more women be encouraged to study economics in the university?
That is why we are here. We are saying, yes, you should. It may be very difficult because one of the challenges we are seeing now is that you hardly find female in economics. Hardly in economics, especially in Nigeria. Now in my office, I think we are just two females, right, that studied economics. And the others, they are all males. And you are seeing two females in the midst of of 7 males, you have to now become like a male. So we need more people to join us to make it more balanced, to make the view more robust, and to make leadership more inclusive. Because even these days, it's only a few females that you see up there, and most of them, they did not really study economics, and some of them, they don't really do the hard work like we do. So if you have done the hard work in school, why don't you come and include your voice at the table instead of transitioning to being a businesswoman or a cake maker? Some of us will say we want to do pastries, we want to have time for our own. This is good, but you can be more. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, Ma. Thank you very much, everyone. And because of our time, we still have a few more questions, but because of our time, we would have to wrap up the question and answer session. And we could not watch. Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much, Ma. We really appreciate your time and the insights you brought to us this afternoon. Thank you, Ma. So we'll go back to our watch party now. Go back to the video that we were able to watch earlier, and I think after that we are going to wrap up. We're looking at how we can round up by 4:30 at the maximum. Thank you, everyone.
Across many universities in Nigeria, women now make up nearly half of economics undergraduates, a strong and promising start. Studying economics is more than numbers. It helps you understand how the world works. For years, people believed economics was too technical for women. Today, women are proving otherwise every day. The journey is not always easy. Some students struggle with confidence, pressure, and limited support. What makes economics powerful for women is the confidence to think critically, lead boldly, and influence change. These students are not just learning economics, they are preparing to shape its future. So why it's cool for women to study economics as an undergraduate degree? Because every great economist starts somewhere.
Yes, thank you so much, everyone. I hope we were all able to hear and see the video while it was playing. And I hope we were able to pick one or two things from that video, listen to what Dr. had been talking to us, Dr. Pate has been talking to us about during the mentorship session. I would hand over to my colleague now, Madam Ese. Yes, I just got a feedback from somebody. Yes, great. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. I know we would have wanted to ask more questions, talk some more, but we have to go because of the time. Over to you, ma'am.
All right, thank you, everyone. And a special thank you to our guest minister as well. It's a guest minister, sorry, our guest speaker. Can we give her a round of applause, show signs of appreciation on our chat box? Let me see the hands clapping, the thank you, ma. Can I see them coming in on the yes, yes, yes. Thank you so much. We are so grateful for taking out your time, to share your experiences and, all the learning curves with us, and then also the encouragement for everyone here. So I expected to see more hands, clapping. Okay, can we keep them rolling in? Great, great, great. Awesome. Thank you so much, ma'am. Quickly, as we begin to round off, I just want us to drop, a major key takeaway for us from this webinar as we are sending in our appreciation. Just one major key takeaway. I'm looking at the chat box. One key takeaway for you. Yeah, she mentioned a lot of things. She talked about, a lot of things, overcoming challenges. You don't see a challenge and run away from it. You don't see an opportunity and talk yourself out of it. You give it a try. And perseverance. Thank you so much. Let's have some more key takeaways. Keep them coming in, keep them coming in. Okay. Resilience, yeah, thank you. Shaping the future. Consistency, awesome, awesome, awesome. Do not just specialize in one area, be vast in different areas. Yes, be vast. Don't always think you can't do it. No, she talked a lot about that. Don't talk yourself out of opportunities. Preparation builds confidence. Yeah, great, great. Thank you so much, everyone. You know, yeah, confidence, you need to have the right network. Very, very important. The right network. Yeah, the sky is your limit. Great, great, great. Yeah, you keep exploring. And then the importance of mentorship is very, 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 very important. You know, she talked, you know, working with her mentor. Yeah, building a community, that's still about networking. Then build strong foundation in core courses. Great, 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 great. All right, thank you so much, everyone. I believe it's been value for our time. So we are looking forward to, you know, having more of these conversations. I hope, Olawumi, I'm right. We'll have more of these
Yes, ma'am.
conversations.
Yes, yes, yes.
All right. So thank you so much for coming again. And from Policy Innovation Center, we are grateful for sharing your time with us this afternoon. So thank you once again. Over.
Thank you for having me. Bye-bye, everybody.